Hello everybody, I am officially back, and I decided I want to start a new series for this channel. This series is going to be me playing all the political paths of a certain country, and the starting country we are going to do is the almighty Japan. So let's get right into it. Here we are, Japan, and I instantly looked at my political tree. Of course, since this is the first video for Japan, we will be playing the historical route. Purge the Kodaha faction. But first, since we can't do a political focus yet, we have to either do the Imperial Defense Plan or an industry focus. So I decided here I would do an industry focus first. Nothing special about Japan's research, and for construction I built some mills and some cities. After that I organized my production lines, which for a major power there were actually not a lot of military factories. But I basically just put one military factory on everything, prioritizing guns as we were currently in a deficit. And finally, I organized my army, which was also very simple. After that, the Japan setup was now complete, which means we can now get on with the game. Although, after doing some industry focuses, you eventually get this event right here, the February 28th incident. If you do the first focus, you will do the focus Purge the Kodaha faction, which is the historical path, which is what we will do. After we finish the next focus, we will get a new leader, and trust me, we will get a lot of new leaders. The next part of the political branch is the Hikari debate, which occurs when the civilian government and the military faction have reached a breaking point in tension. And just so you guys know, there is a decision you can make that will increase the tensions between the two sides so you can speed up this focus faster. While I waited for the tension to reach a breaking point, I did the Hanshin-Ron focus, which basically gives us a lot of options to expand southward. Something to note while playing Japan is sometimes you can get events like this, internal power struggle, which basically allows you to influence or deter power from different factions. This mechanic can be used to influence different decisions or different choices you make in your country. The revised the 21 demands path is very interesting, as it basically leads you down the path of conquest. You can do things like set up Manchurian as a puppet state or even establish the reorganized national government of China after you do invade China. Speaking of invading China, after about 2 years, your army will invade China on its own, and while it does suffer some debuffs, it honestly is worth it as you do not have to take a continuous set of focuses to declare war on China. I then got Manchurian to submit to my rule, and then I did other focuses to improve my country, like for example getting another research slot. Now, it was almost time to go to war with China, and I was simply making the final preparations before I actually went to war, like for example reaffirming my army and making it much better. Then Hitler thought it would be funny to request his former colonies for me, and simply, Hitler, you can suck my big fat balls. Absolutely not. Then immediately after this, Menjiang and Manchukuo thought it'd be really funny and comedic to rebel from me a few months before I started my invasion of mainland China. This threw a huge wrench in my plans, as if I could not capitulate Manchukuo or Menjiang in time, then I would be at war with the Chinese United Front and Manchukuo, which would be absolutely devastating for me. My only option was Blitzkrieg, and I had to hope time was on my side, because if not, what I stated earlier would happen and my run would be screwed. Thankfully, Manchukuo did not last long and they quickly surrendered, and I decided to punish them. I would directly annex them. I felt the urgency to rush troops over to the border, but then I realized China had actually accepted my ultimatum, therefore delaying war for about another year. This was good news, as well, I did not have to rush my troops over, and I had all the time in the world I needed, but I also was kind of bored and didn't want to wait anymore, so I decided just to justify a war goal on China for 75 days. I built some good planes, I prepared naval invasions, and then I finally declared a war on China and the Chinese United Front. My initial attack was slow, as China was spamming last stand. But then I made a breakthrough in the east, which significantly helped my attack in the west. Although the west had eventually stalemated due to me having to push over rivers into mostly urban provinces, but in the east, the Nanking gates were wide open and their eastern flank was very weak, and you know I had to exploit that opportunity. I had finally broken the status quo in the West, as I made many breakthroughs, I got many encirclements, and I captured many supply hubs. I landed a naval invasion in the Chinese port city of Ningbo, and after relentless attacks and endless fortifications and defense, the Chinese capital of Nanking had finally fallen. The Chinese tried their best to recover, but the damage had already been done. My infantrymen were now in the plains and the cities, and with them having significantly better equipment than the poorly equipped Chinese divisions, it was inevitable for the Chinese to fall. I landed another naval invasion in southern China so I can move Chinese troops away from my other troops marching straight towards Wuhan. I set up the reorganized government of China, and then after a very fierce and bloody battle at Wuhan, I finally took the city. After going down my political branch a little more, I finally finished the focus forming Imperial Japan and finally getting my boy Hirohito in power. Don't ask why he looks like that. I had him on installed. But the Chinese army finally collapsed, and after a long fought war, China had officially capitulated. I annexed everything. The problem was, we had only taken over the nationalists. We still had a bunch of warlords in China to actually take over. And while many of these warlords were in the Chinese United Front, there were still many I needed to take out, so that was my next goal. I went to war with the Chinese communists, and it was a little hard due to supply issues, but I did get a pretty big encirclement, which led to the inevitable downfall of the nation. I then sent one of my armies down to the Sichuan clique, which they surprisingly had a very big army, but I declared the war anyway. The Sichuan clique was kind of being a pain in the ass, so I encircled an entire army's worth of troops in a small encirclement. After I finally finished off this encirclement, I had capitulated the Sichuan. I then declared war on the Northeastern Army in hopes of increasing my front line with the communists, as I had stalemated them. And as you probably expect, the Northeast Army did not give me that fierce resistance. In fact, they fell almost immediately. This finally gave me the leverage needed to destroy the communists, and after this, I defeated the rest of the warlord states. Here's a montage for you. We had now finally united China under our puppet. And if you're wondering what happened in Xinjiang and why I didn't show that, we don't talk about Xinjiang. But now I look for Mongolia and their land. And, of course, annexing my beautiful Chinese puppet. Since I'm playing Japan, you know I had to exploit the people and the land of China. Even after doing the Occupy Indochina focus, Germany was too stubborn to give me Indochina despite being at war with half the world, so I had to justify on them to take the land I wanted. After my war goal was done, I instantly declared war on the German Reich and started marching my troops into Siberia and Indochina. Despite some supply issues, there was really no problem marching into German Indochina, and that's when I had the brilliant idea to declare war on Siam. This war did kinda suck due to the supply issues, but Siam was no match for my troops, and I got swift and quick encirclements. Siam then fell shortly after. But I'm playing as historical Japan with Emperor Hirohito in power. Of course, I had to strike the Pacific. After some final preparations, I finally felt confident enough to declare war on the British puppet of Malaya. Despite the British putting up fierce resistance, they were no match for my super sexy beefy divisions, and Malaysia soon quickly fell. I blitzed northern Borneo, hoping to take over the island as quickly as possible. I did sort of fuck up though, as I forgot the Allies could invade me through western China, so I had to quickly diverge some troops to cover this front. But things were looking great in Burma, and I knew soon enough that Burma and India would fall. Finally, Delhi had fallen. and I knew the collapse of India was near. Fighting was fierce, and after a lot of encirclements, I had finally cleaned up the Indian subcontinent from the British. Just a random segment I'm putting in here. What the fuck is this, and what am I looking at? For the funsies, and since I don't give a shit about the Indonesian people, I decided to nuke Jakarta, so I could push my troops across the strait. This plan had worked splendidly, as I had taken Jakarta and all the units in the region were very, very weak. Now, almost all of East Asia had finally been cleaned up, but there are a few more nations I needed to take out first. Yunnan and Tibet were on the chopping block, and I decided to take out Yunnan first. Finally, they joined the Allies, but no biggie. After a few encirclements, I killed all their units. I then declared war on the Soviets so I could take more land in eastern Siberia. To make my borders look much sexier, I then declared war on Tibet, hoping to take them out and the Allied encirclement that came with it. Finally, for the last few nations left. I kicked them damn Brits out of Iran, completely seizing the country for myself. After a while of fighting, Germany finally kept, which was good and bad news for me. The good news being that, well, I can take the territory that I wanted in especially areas like Iran, Siam, and Australia. But the bad news is the Soviets got all their territories back, so I will also have to fight them too. After this, I killed Mongolia and prepared to fight the biggest, baddest, and my most challenging enemy yet. Tanatu. Oh wait, they're already dead. Oh. In classic Japanese fashion, I then invaded the Philippines, which, well, went very well. After some quick island hopping, I finally made my way to the Philippines, which is the farthest I would go in terms of America, the Pacific. And, well, I had done it! All of East Asia was now under my control, including most of Oceania and even Hawaii. I had achieved my main goal, and the main goal of historical Japan in real life. This is where I ended the game, as it was getting very late, as it was already 1949, and I really didn't see any point in fighting the whole world. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate all your support. I'll be uploading more soon. But anyways, see you guys in the next video. Peace out.